embrace the big lie and embrace the Constitution. And going forward, the nation needs it. The nation needs a strong Republican Party. The nation needs a party that is based upon fundamental principles of conservatism. And I am committed and dedicated to ensuring that that's how this party goes forward, and I plan to lead the fight to do that.
Congresswoman, how concerned are you that former President Trump might end up back in the Oval Office, and what are you prepared to do to prevent it?
I will do everything I can to ensure that the former president never again gets anywhere near the Oval Office. We have seen the danger that he continues to provoke with his language. We have seen his lack of commitment and dedication to the Constitution, and I think it's very important that we make sure whomever we elect is somebody who will be faithful to the Constitution.
Congresswoman, do you feel betrayed by today's vote?
I do not. I think that it is an indication of where the Republican Party is, and I think that the party is in a place that we've got to bring it back from, and we've got to get back to a position where we are a party that can fight for conservative principles, that can fight for substance. We cannot be dragged backward by the very dangerous lies of a former president. Thank you.
Hey guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday. We a lot of things to talk about in a short time to do it, and my camera is.
Where'd you gotta check his stuff first?
I like, where'd you go, man?
Yeah, I'm trying to get both of those flags in there. Okay, lot to talk about. Short time to do it. You know who this is: Wayne, Lee, and Brian. If you're watching the show, make sure, well, if you're watching it or listening to it, however you're doing it, make sure that you're sharing the show. We asked you last Thursday/Friday, bring back 2 or 3 people. Many of y'all, maybe you have, maybe you have not. I'm asking you, please do it. Please, that is your homework for every night. Bring back.
I'm doing it right now, and I just by mistake shared the show in a group that should not have this show in it. Oopsie. I don't know how to get it out of there, but that's okay.
You can never have enough to wait the pre-show. I don't care who you are.
It's a group for people. It's a group for people selling like Tupperware. They're gonna be like, what's going on?
They're gonna get fired up. They'll be like, yay, yay.
I've been to, as a kid, I went to Tupperware parties. I know what Tupperware parties are. Welcome, Tupperware party people. As you saw, that was Liz Cheney just a few minutes ago. I know many people are happy. I don't want to make this sound crazy. I'm mixed. I'm mixed because I know she has to go.
Okay.
I'm also mixed because she's more conservative than the person that is getting put in. See, Liz Cheney is a very conservative minded Republican, or she votes conservative most of the time. Well, at least over 90% of the time she votes conservative. She let it get too personal between her and Trump. That was her downfall.
She's into the wars and stuff. She's just like her dad. She's a chip off the old block.
Well, I mean, hold on. A lot of conservatives believe in protecting this country too. And if you go back to but yeah, no. I agree with you about her warmongering. I do agree with that. But when it comes to conservative voting for things that are conservative for the country, she's over 90% of that.
The problem is she shot herself right in the face when she took the most conservative president we ever had. Threw him under the bus.
Yeah, I mean, what is she, stupid? Yeah, that was dumb.
I just said that though. I just said that though. She messed up by making it personal against Trump. But she voted with Trump while he was in office over 90% of the time. when it came down to after the election and stuff, she made it personal. That was her downfall in doing so. I have a problem, and again, for that, and also being related to the Bush Cheney
Oh yeah, that's downfall too.
I don't think
The
that
dynasty.
she shouldn't have been put in there in the first place. But guess who helped put her in there?
The stupid Republican.
McCarthy and Scalise, they helped put her in there. So when I see our side saying, "Yeah, Cheney, good," and nobody, and not a whole lot of people going after McCarthy or Scalise, I'm like, I mean, it's almost like MAGA's gone crazy. It's
One
like
I don't know.
you have to
One
go
at a
after
time.
them too.
Yeah, one at a time.
No,
I mean,
man,
how
no.
do you hold on? How do you throw McCarthy and Scalise out? They run the show.
There
Well,
are
the thing is, it's
conservatives-
McCarthy Luntz. Frank Luntz and McCarthy are one of the.
Yes.
They're not one in the same.
They live in the same house.
But no, he rents from me at $5,000 a month. I'm not
I
saying
don't
that's
care.
right. I'm just saying, But
Look, I tweeted this out. If they can get Cheney out in 20 minutes, and they can't even deliver an Obamacare replacement
That's true. That's
to
true.
Trump
In 4 years.
in 4 years,
they claimed they
There's a
had
problem.
one.
They're
There's a
terrible.
problem.
They claimed they had one, but now we see Bunny Boiler just going absolutely ape, running around, screaming and yelling as a scorned woman that she is. I feel like the establishment. I feel like her papa. I feel like the Bushes. I feel like
Well,
like
that's what it
took her
was.
to the side and said, "Hey,
Hey,
sister, we need you to come out loud against this orange man bad."
Well, Brian, and you're exactly right. It's like a bad high school after school special. They used her last name to prompt her up, and then they pushed her into this. And that's what it is. You know how like last names count in high schools? Well, this is what that was. So yeah, I totally agree.
Same with the Pence family in Indiana.
you know what?
God.
And them putting what's her name? Elise Stefanik, them putting her up there. Why not put Jim Jordan in there?
Oh no, Jim Jordan came out, and it was ironic though. It's kind of sickening. Jim Jordan came out and championed her. As
Isn't that weird?
Please
That's
tell
what
me
I'm
you got
talking
that.
about.
Like how
That clip
That's
was disgusting.
Right.
so she votes a little lefty, kinda, and Jim Jordan's okay with this? I don't understand.
They called her a moderate. And Jim
That's-
Jordan
Yeah, I was gonna say
championed her.
moderate. Yeah, she votes moderate more than
And
she does Republican. Wayne
she-
told me that. I have to give him credit.
She
But-
put out herself, Leah, that she was in the top 10% of the bipartisan in the House. She's in the top 10% of the bipartisan. Look, I'm all for getting stuff done, but we know how conservatives do or Republicans do with bipartisan. It's called surrender. So
You know-
I mean, that's
You're the only one speaking about this, and I will bet you any money for the next 3 weeks you will not see Jim Jordan on any of the news stations get asked that question. Why are you okay with a moderate coming in
Right.
versus someone who is voting more Republican than
Well, Laura
normal.
Ingraham kind of said that, and Jim's response was the answer to the question that he wished she asked him. Like he didn't answer
Mhm.
her.
Yeah,
He
well, of course
answered
not.
her as the question that he was prepared to.
Yeah, that's the
which
art
was
of being a politician.
defending her
right.
and saying that, oh, here's the list. She voted with Trump. She did this with Trump.
Right.
Trump said, okay. She's NRA backs her.
It was like a
Hmm.
Jen sack of potato sacky kind of response.
Man, you guys know I'm down with the Jordan family. We know them personally here. The big
How come
wrestling
on?
family.
Get him on. I'd like to ask him.
I
Not
like
being
it.
rude. I'd be kind, but
He's
I'd
not
like to ask
picking
him.
He's not picking up my phone calls anymore.
He don't pick up my phone calls either. He-
I mean,
Let
I
me
got
try
his
to call him.
personal cell number. I
Let
got
me
his
call him.
personal cell.
No, you're
And
kidding.
he
doesn't
He has no
pick up.
clue who I am.
and
No answers.
honestly for me, and it's really not him, so I give him a pass on that. It's his hound dogs that are in front of him that won't
That's
let
true.
him get on
Yes.
the show.
Yeah.
But whatever, right? Okay, so Jordan says you can't have a Republican conference chair reciting dim talking points. He's right, you can't.
Right.
No.
And that goes back to what I said before. she made it personal. And I don't know whether she got her marching orders from her dad or from George W. Bush, who is not
I'm
a
sure.
Trump supporter. So she's in that group. That's her family. Okay, that's her family. Now, again, she voted with Trump while he was in office over 90%. That's what the word is. But she made it personal after the election.
And she made it public too. And
Public
listen to her words. It sounds like Nancy Pelosi. He's a threat to our democracy.
Right.
I'll never let him get close to that office.
That's what I'm talking about.
She read the room wrong when it came to doing that. She did. And
bad read.
And when you read the room that wrong, you're gone.
Okay, now check this out. Why didn't McCarthy go to her and sit her down and talk to her?
Because it's Frank Luntz.
Oh, well, okay.
Well, who's to say he did? Who's to say he did? Though
I don't believe he did. I mean, I believe that he ran to Trump and said, "Look, we can get her out and we can put somebody else in." And it's still, I still, even if you wanted to put a woman in there, there are 26 House Republican women. I'm sure that there are 24.
What was the reasoning to go with her?
Who, Elise?
You're right. Yeah.
Because
what was their main reasoning that the other 25 couldn't do it?
Right.
She actually helped defend Donald Trump during the impeachments.
So did the rest of them.
I know, but somehow she got her way in there.
Well, you know what? Then she got her way in there because a whole lot of people didn't go back and see what she said about Trump during the time before that, because she said some real crazy stuff, and she also said that that Trump was responsible for the January thing. Hold on, let me. Let's see, Stephanie. Oh, I'm looking for that.
How'd Steve Bannon
we're also hearing now, we're getting word from our reporters who are outside that the conference has in fact adopted that resolution, and Cheney has been removed from the number 3 spot in Republican leadership. This happening lightning fast. Within 20 minutes of this meeting started, Liz Cheney making remarks, Virginia Fox offering a resolution backed by Republican leaders. She is now out of Republican leadership, and she's expected to address what happened here in just a matter of minutes. A pretty dramatic reversal from just a few months ago when the conference kept her in overwhelmingly with the support of the Republican leadership, even despite her vote to impeach Donald Trump. But in the aftermath of her criticism of the former president, it's clear where this conference wants to go, and is with Donald Trump and without Liz Cheney, who is just booted out of that leadership spot, the number 3 spot in the Republican conference.
Look, I got back in 2015, 2016, in the early days of his first term in office, Stefanik criticized Trump over everything from his incendiary comments about Muslims and women to his signature policy positions such as reforming NATO, building a U.S.-Mexico border wall, and having stronger cooperation with Russia. That's her.
I know, but again,
and also believe that Trump should release his tax returns to the public.
This is the Republicans. This is how they get themselves in trouble.
Oh, wait, whoa. In another interview, which she didn't mention Trump's name, Trump by name, she blasted candidates who disqualified themselves by making untruthful statements. This is the one that they want to replace, the one that they just put out. This one to me is worse because, like we said yesterday, you can act like a conservative for a week. You can act like conservative for a month.
But you say she's
but your record
worse,
doesn't even act like a conservative. Like, are these Republicans blind to the fact that this is on paper? This is statements. Do they not do their homework? No, Leah, they don't, because you can see what they did for the last 4 years.
Right.
And I'm not defending her at all. I'm not. But I am saying that. But at this point in time, right now in the public sphere, Liz is totally vocal and completely Bunny Boiler She literally wants to find Trump's bunny rabbit and put it in a boiling pot of water. That's how insane this woman has
Oh, is
become.
that what bunny boiler means? I was like,
Yeah.
what do you keep saying bunny boiler? I don't know.
Jesus, Fatal Attraction. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I thought it was a name though. Like I
Insane.
thought their name was Bunny and then last name Boiler, and I thought it was like history person. I'm like, who's Bunny Boiler?
Right. No, but so okay. So
You're talking to someone that burns. Okay, I get it.
So the new woman, she's not at this point in time, she's not really looking to burn things down. And I'm not defending her, but she's not looking to burn things down. I mean, look at the people that had to get fired in the past. You had Scaramucci that had to get fired. You had, I don't know how Steve Bannon,
She's saving.
as sloppily as he never wore anything.
She has an election coming up.
Cheney or Stephanie? Okay, well,
Hold up.
Tens of millions of Americans are concerned that the 2020 election featured unconstitutional overreach by unelected state officials.
Congresswoman Elise Stefanik was considered a rising Republican star even before she started gathering momentum to replace Liz Cheney as the #3 GOP leader in the House.
I know that my constituents in New York 21 have many concerns about the fact that Hunter Biden, the son of the vice president, sat on the board of a corrupt company like Burisma.
In late 2019, during then-President Trump's first impeachment proceeding, Stefanik left no doubt that she had arrived with her tenacious questioning of witnesses.
Any reference to bribery?
No, there was none.
Any reference to quid pro quo?
No, there was none.
Any reference to extortion?
No, there was none.
At those hearings, Stefanik was a bulwark for Trump. She questioned the veracity and agendas of witnesses and made it clear to powerful House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff that she wouldn't be intimidated.
Ambassador Yovanovitch, I want to thank you for being here today.
Suspend. You're not recognized.
This is the 5th time you have interrupted members of Congress, duly elected members of Congress.
Gentlewoman will suspend.
It's really where she aligned herself for the first time very publicly. She defended.
And that's why
I get it why.
Yeah.
Now I see why she got it. She's mouthy. She's fresh blood and she's mouthy.
I remember that.
She was elected in 2015 at 30 years old, then the youngest congresswoman. So she's been in for a while. She's got her feet wet. She made a huge name for herself, pushing back against all these Democrats. It's not hard to find evidence to put her up.
Oh, no, I totally see now.
But I don't know about putting her all the way up to third in line.
I wouldn't have done
Yeah,
that.
not third in line. No, not third in line.
I feel like there's a whole lot of other people that could be there.
I would have been like, she can be up and coming for the next couple of years, but putting her up there right now, no.
Were they thinking that she was going to be like a AOC, like a version of AOC? Because she's from New York, she's a little bit mouthy. I don't know.
We have Dr. Richard Creighton. Am I saying that right?
You are.
Dr. Richard Creighton is a pathologist at the Massachusetts General Hospital and a former associate professor at Harvard Medical School, and glad to have you here. We're going to move away from Congress a little bit and talk about COVID. What's going on with this
this situation we got at hand.
there's a lot of people. There's 80%. I was reading 80% of people polled said that there's nothing's going to change their mind about getting the COVID vaccination. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, again, I think you advertised me as a pathologist, which I am, but I'm also a pulmonary physician, and I've practiced medicine at Harvard Mass General for over 40 years. So I have a pretty good idea about how respiratory viruses work.
Can you give us kind of an explanation? I'm just a regular Joe. I don't know much about some of these words. Can you kind of give a layman kind of guy of what you do?
I'm a lung doctor.
I'm on board with that. Okay.
I have specific expertise in infectious disease, and particularly in respiratory viruses that affect the lungs. What to say about COVID? Clearly, there's a portion of the population that probably should be vaccinated, and that's people of about my age, 65 and older, and certainly people who have underlying diseases. We've known that for a long time. In terms of the rest of the population, in terms of young people, and particularly in terms of young school children, there's absolutely, in my opinion at least, no indication for them to necessarily be vaccinated. Obviously, it's a matter of personal choice, which is what it always should be. But in the pediatric population, their risk of contracting disease is extremely low. And the possible risks of an experimental vaccine, which is what this is, can conceivably outweigh the effects of contracting the virus. So, it's not a vaccination program that should be prescribed, across the board for everybody. There needs to be some consideration of their individual medical history. And again, you have to take into account people's choice as to whether or not they want to go ahead and be vaccinated or not.
What was up with the, there was a huge push for ventilators. We were hearing some side effects from the ventilators last year. And maybe you can clear up whether it's true or not. What was for those that were in serious condition? We heard that. Again, maybe you can clear this up. We heard that the ventilators shouldn't have been used for those that were in serious condition of having the COVID virus. Is that right?
I know you heard that. The answer is no, it's not right. And there's been more false information about this virus than ever about any other disease in history, in my opinion. In fact, it's reached the point where it's virtually impossible, even for medical scientists, to read the literature and be confident that they're getting facts. It's really a mess. But the fact is, for people who are severely ill with COVID, again, those elderly people, for the most part, those people need ventilatory support. Now, ventilators by themselves have the potential to make lung injury worse. Yes. So you need to be skilled in how you manipulate the settings of the ventilator. But the idea that the ventilator by itself was causing disease, that's just false.
So is this virus, maybe I should know this answer by now. Is this a lung virus or a vascular? Because I felt like this is more related to the blood vessels than the lungs. It's just the lungs were the secondary effect of COVID when it comes to the blood vessels.
No, I think that's largely more nonsense. It's a primary, what we call pulmonary pathogen. That means it affects the lungs primarily. And the information about blood vessels, there may be some individuals who have the infection in their blood vessels where it produces actual disease and symptoms. But for the most part, this is a respiratory virus, very much like, in many respects, the flu. And each year, over many years now, we've seen people die from the flu in the same way they've died from COVID. You just never heard about it.
Interesting.
When you take the numbers, and I love looking at the numbers and the stats and history, and you go over, say, the last 20, 30 years of deaths, overall total deaths in America from everything that people have died from, you literally have almost no extra. We would be anticipating an extra 250,000, 500,000 deaths on top of normal deaths throughout a whole year. And we're just not seeing a spike of extra deaths. It's pretty much flatline. Well, the 90s was kind of high for whatever reason, and it kind of dipped back down, and it's just kind of about the same every year.
Plateauing.
Well, once again, people with underlying diseases and the elderly are at risk of dying with COVID. Many of them will die as a result of their underlying diseases with COVID on board, and doesn't necessarily mean that COVID caused the death. But overall, despite the fact that this is potentially a serious disease for some people, it is at some level the greatest hoax ever perpetrated on the public.
Wow. And he went to Harvard, folks, just to let you know. I'm talking to our audience.
The CDC, Dr. Fauci, the WHO, the confusion at the top. What are your thoughts about that? And how should Americans research or seek out to find legit answers to their questions?
I think one little known fact is that Dr. Fauci is actually not primarily an infectious disease expert.
Yeah.
He's an allergy immunologist, and that's how he made his career, looking at the immunological effects of the AIDS virus. The current head of the CDC was a colleague of mine here at Mass General. She's a young and intelligent woman, and I'm sure she knows better than some of the ideas which have coming out of the CDC. So the whole issue has been completely politicized. And in terms of getting the facts, probably the best idea is to find a physician who's over 50 years old and has been around long enough to have some idea as to what these diseases are all about, and ask your physician what you should do.
So
You say,
Because the younger generation, I don't mean to say this in a way that sounds
that's all right.
pejorative.
Oh, please do.
The younger generation of physicians have been completely infiltrated by progressive ideology.
Agreed. 100% agreed. So
Harvard Medical School is no different than Harvard College. So they're as interested in diversity and equity as they are in diseases at this point. So it's a problem.
So because you are a lung expert, I would like to move to the conversation about the mask. It has MIT came out and said, look, it didn't matter if you had a mask on or not, no matter if you were 6 feet or 60 feet away. That did not matter if you were indoors. It mattered the amount of time that you spent indoors if you got COVID. How damaging really is it to wear a mask 10 to 12 hours a day if you're an 8-year-old in second grade? It doesn't seem right to me, doctor.
Well, we all use masks when we work in the hospital. Those masks are true N95 masks. You have to be fitted for them. You have to do testing to see that they're not permeable to the outside air. The mask that the average individual is wearing provides virtually very little, if at all, protection. Certainly people who you see walking around with a bandana around their face, that's doing absolutely nothing. In terms of children, certainly children who have underlying diseases like asthma or respiratory difficulties, it's a hardship for them to be wearing these masks. The psychological effects of wearing a mask on young children that age, I don't think we know the full effects, but they're not likely to be good. So this business about making children wear masks at summer camp, in school, mandating vaccinations for children, this is all politics. This has nothing to do with medicine.
Going back to politics, I was in the Air Force, so was Wayne, and I was enlisted. I wasn't in the officer ranks, but I do know that if you are a full bird colonel and looking to rise in the ranks of the military, a general, 1, 2, 3, 4-star general, or high ups in the Air Force, it is completely political. Not only do you have to submit a resume, but you also have to submit a picture and do a physical interview, because they want somebody that looks the part on top of being the part. I can only assume that is happening in this situation too.
This is true in the military. It's true in the corporate world. It's true in the medical world. So the elites that you're hearing from who are setting the policies in this country, both for medical issues and other issues, have all been, for the most part, with some rare exceptions, have been educated and indoctrinated into progressive thinking and to progressive ideology. And to the extent that they believe these things, and some of them certainly do, they are going to transmit it to the public. So I think we need to really take a closer look at who the people are who are setting the policies in this country, both at the level of medicine, at the CDC, Dr. Fauci, as well as everything else across the board.
What do you say to those that, I think I kind of mentioned it earlier, but to make it clear, what do you say about those individuals that are choosing not to get the vaccine? Now, you said it was should be primarily for the elderly type, but it seems like it's being pushed on everybody else. My daughters are going to college in September.
Yes, it's going to be pushed on everyone.
Right.
It's going to be pushed on not by the government, it's going to be encouraged by the government, and then the corporations and all the institutions are going to carry it out. So you won't be able to go back to school in most places. You won't be able to go back to the workplace without a vaccination.
Something weird that I'm seeing on social media, this could be total hoax. I have no idea, but it is recent. I gotta say it, man. And it's coming out of the UK. A lot of these people are getting the vaccine, and then they're showing that magnets are sticking to their skin.
I saw that. Yeah,
and it's not one; it's a whole bunch. It's a whole bunch.
Yeah.
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. They're getting the vaccine, and then they're coming home, and they're able to stick a magnet over the area where they got the vaccine. With days later, and that magnet stays in place.
There's a lot of heavy metals in vaccines, so maybe that's why.
I really don't know.
You think that's kind of a hoax out?
I'm not going to comment on that one because
Okay, all right. As for now, I'm going to throw that one out. I'm not even going to bring that up ever again.
You know what? No, because I mean, I was actually looking at it and watching the magnet, how you have your positive, negative, and you know how you can't put two negatives together because it'll go like that. And I watched the video and I went to go looking for more. And I'm glad to have you on here, but I'm also happy that you're like, okay, well, you know what? I'm not going to touch that right yet. You know, I want to see what happens my own self for that. But Dr. Creighton, I want to thank you for joining us and
you're welcome.
Giving us a whole lot more common sense than what we're seeing on television regarding the virus and stuff.
Common sense is very important. And what I will say is that many of the elites, because of their education, because of their indoctrination, have very little of it.
God bless.
Well said.
Let's bring you back on. I want to talk to you some more because do you think that it's going to get better by the end of the year? And when I mean getting better, the vaccination shots, the requirement to have it, will they get worse? Will it migrate or mutate worse before the end of the year?
I doubt it. I think we're really looking at the tail end of this as a disease. What the government has in store for us next, for the next emergency, I don't know. How long you'll be told you need to wear a mask, it will depend on which state you live in. Whether you be vaccinated will depend where you work. This is the unfortunate politicization of virtually everything at this point in our society.
All right. Well, look, Dr. Creighton, I want to thank you. How can people reach out and follow you on social media?
I've come off much of my social media.
Oh man, come on, give me something.
You are awesome.
I've come off most of my social media, but if they would like to read my books, there's one that just came out yesterday. They can go on Amazon.com, just look under my name. There's a number of books which I think they would find very interesting.
Awesome.
Awesome. What's the name of your book that just came out yesterday?
Never Trump. And it's about the psychology of the elites in the society.
All right. I'm going to get that.
You know what? Let's have you back on soon so we can talk about that.
I'm a new hero.
I'm going to go order it. Yeah, I'm going to read it and then talk about it.
Sounds great. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor.
Lester, good evening. You can see hundreds of cars here, and this is just one gas station. Drivers here telling me they're waiting up to an hour. That's where the line starts. We can't even see where it ends. Those drivers also telling me they're seeing gas stations run out, and they're taking no chances tonight. Tonight, the lines for gas getting longer, from the Carolinas down to Florida. Panicked drivers overwhelming gas stations.
Just got to do what you got to do and just load up on gas and just not try to go too far away from home.
After a long wait at this gas station in South Carolina,
I've been waiting here for 45 minutes just to get gas.
Frustration.
We're out of gas. All out.
Across the Southeast, demand is up 40%. Prices at the pump inching up too. Nationwide, they're 6 cents higher than last week.
I'll spend that extra few bucks. That's the way it is.
Well, I just could have heard there was going to be a run on gas, and we figured I better get it now.
The 5,500-mile Colonial Pipeline is still mostly shut down. Tonight, American Airlines says it's adding refueling stops to 2 long-haul routes this week because of the outage. The timing couldn't be worse, with 37 million people expected to travel this Memorial Day weekend. That's up 60% from last year.
You'll be hoarding gas. If you don't really need it, then don't buy it. And if you are going on a car trip, maybe don't wait till you get to empty, fill up when you're at like a quarter of a tank.
Experts say despite the long lines and empty pumps, if the Colonial Pipeline meets its goal of restoring most service by Friday, there's no real cause for alarm. Tom Yamas, NBC News, Charlotte.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by...
I love that guy at the beginning when he's like, I waited 45 minutes and still no gas.
Well,
Wow.
I'm going to tell you right now, I do not own a diesel truck anymore. I did have one for many, many years, and I had an extra tank in the bed. And I was looking for an extra tank in my gas truck bed, and that doesn't normally work. It doesn't normally have it for gasoline. However, they had a huge sale on 5-gallon plastic jugs. So I got me a lot of them, and I got them filled up. And they will go bad, so you got to rotate that fuel. Just rotate it through your car and keep you about half dozen 5-gallon jugs in the shed.
I think it was weird during a press conference yesterday. I don't know if she's included with the Department of Energy, who she really is, but she was up there almost like enjoying the fact that there wasn't any gas. And she actually said, quote, if you have an electric car, you don't have to worry about this. Like, really?
Really?
Yeah. And she was enjoying it. She was, oh man, she was smiling. You could tell she was up there like, give me more, baby. This
Well, the next pandemic is going to be the food. It's going to be the fuel. They're pushing. This is their agenda.
Wait till they hack the banks. Wait till they hack the banks.
Well, then they'll go totally digital. Then we don't
They're
need
gonna have
banks.
to.
We don't need
No,
banks.
we
anymore.
don't need banks. Hey, you guys, I've been studying up on that. You're right. Bitcoin, Dogecoin, all the way. Now I'm starting to learn.
The energy secretary is telling people don't hoard gas.
That's who energy secretary. Yeah.
There's a panic at the pump right now. People are.
Listen, whatever this administration says, do opposite.
Right. I have a great Patreon that follows us for years and years. Cheryl out of Dayton, Ohio, says that Ohio does not receive their fuel from this pipeline, which she's probably correct because we got no problems here. We got no issues here in Ohio.
Tell me when we're going to talk about Liz Cheney again one more time, because I just found out what the press secretary said, what Jen Sack of Potato said, and I'm ready to go off. I'm ready to go off.
Well, let me
just said it. So
let me add this to it, and then we'll talk about Jim, because
circle back.
when I heard this, and probably what you're going to do, I got something to say.
Final topic. I'm not in the habit of commenting on the House Republican minority, but today they have reached a new and very dangerous low point. Earlier this morning, the House GOP ousted Liz Cheney from the party's leadership. Her crime? Telling the truth. Telling the truth that Joe Biden is the legitimate president of the United States, and Donald Trump is lying when he says the election is stolen.
I don't need a Democrat telling us how to do things over and I'm not even a Republican, but I'm saying I don't need Democrats telling Republicans how to do stuff when Democrats, because honestly, I think that everything that you're seeing now in the public, and Leah, I'm going to throw this over to you. I think everything that you're seeing in the public is not helping the GOP at all. And many people out there don't care about the GOP, but the GOP is stepping on their own feet by doing this publicly and then being hypocrites on many other facets. Am I right, Leah?
Yes, they're shooting themselves in the foot. They get in their own way. That is their biggest downfall. You're 100% right, Wayne. exactly what it is.
This is sick because it all goes. I never let a crisis go to waste, and now we have a party that is not my party. Democrats saying, "Well, it's the other party." Let's kick them while they're down. So let's take advantage of a situation. And as they sold us John McCain as being the guy, as they sold us Mitt Romney as being the guy, they're now running to the rescue of a woman, Liz Cheney, who's no real conservative Republican that would come out and impeach the president that we voted for, that garnered more votes in our party. Our party came out with more votes for President Trump than any other Republican president. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Democrats coming out to support Cheney and save our democracy, and our democracy is and things are falling apart if we go back to this warmonger, Trump bad orange man, and it's all because they're scared that their power could be more eroded if Trump got back in.
I mean, I hope many people don't think that I'm defending Cheney, because I'm not. Honestly, I really don't think Cheney should have been in the third spot in the first place. But I know why she was put in there, and it's because of her family ties and her political genes. That's why
I know somebody.
And also her ability to raise money. Stephanie ain't gonna raise crap. I'm telling you right now.
You know what? I actually look at that as a good thing. I look at that as a good thing. That shows me maybe the Republicans are in a better mindset when they picked her. Because if they know for a fact she's not going to raise money, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people that can raise their voice and not raise money all the damn time. So maybe fresh blood in the third chair is better than old blood and old money. Maybe no money and fresh blood is better than old money and old policies.
Well, I think
maybe I am on board with her.
Well, I think that might have been addressed though, because if Trump is going to back her, Trump can fill up that money.
Those coffers,
that loss of money.
He's in control of the party. Yeah, so, I agree.
But 100 Republicans. I was reading last night. 100 Republicans have decided or are leaning toward leaving the GOP. Because they feel that the current GOP won't return to free markets and free people.
Bye, Felicia.
I didn't let you say that, Brian. You just right up my mouth.
I have a problem with the current GOP too. They spend too much goddamn money.
They won't stop it to save their lives.
They spend too much money. They turn on MAGA.
They do.
They aren't for the American people. They say they are, but they're not. So, I mean, but I don't know if I would follow these 100 Republicans either. But the Republicans are not for us. They're not. Or they will be fixing stuff. They're spending all this time. Look what's happening in Israel right now. Look what's happening in America right now. And they are worried about.
How do you feel about
publicly fighting in fighting?
Didn't Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham, didn't they go down to the border?
Yeah, they did.
In the dark of night with flashlights and stuff?
In the dark of night, yeah.
Right. And Murkowski went down there with him. He had the mosquitoes down there.
Yeah.
Did y'all fix that? You all been on the office for so damn long. Y'all promised Ronald Reagan you were going to build the border wall. You passed that bill to build the border wall, and then you revoked the money, so there's no money to fund it to build it. That's going all the way back to the 80s. Y'all ain't done nothing. Going all the way back to the 80s. And you see why we're so frustrated with you guys and why we all jumped on the Trump train, because Donald Trump embraced American values and America first. That's all.
Somebody just said about we need term limits. I was thinking about this morning when I was getting ready to do the show, and I thought, I wish we had term limits, shorter term limits on the White House, because I don't know if I can do 3 years with Joe. I don't. I'd be more than happy if next November he was up for re-election. I don't know if I can take 3 more years of this, you guys.
If he's even around, I don't know.
Well, I hope prayers are answered.
I know y'all gonna get, not my co-host, but I know y'all watching are gonna get mad at me when I say this. There are term limits. It's called elections. Vote the people out. And as a matter of fact, go to your community meetings and tell people to put a measure on the ballot to stop paying them six figures. Start paying them like maybe $50,000-$60,000 a year and see if they stay in there for 50 and 60 years.
Right. And if they do good, maybe they get a raise off the voting people. Your money depends on if they vote you for a raise or not. That's what I feel.
Yeah. I mean,
I wish there was term limits though for the White House. Anything there?
Yeah, there are.
Anything there, Wayne?
Yeah,
no,
not
4
years.
years. No, don't say that. I can't do this for 8
it
years.
is what it
I
is.
can't do this for 8 years.
It's 2 terms, 8 years.
I'm going to hyperventilate. No, dear Lord, up in heaven, I will do whatever it takes. Please don't do this.
Our first Muslim president got 8 years.
Yeah, but he had to do it sneaky. This is more in your face kind of evil. I don't know how to explain it, but this is worse. I can't believe I'm actually saying that.
The curtains are completely pulled back. It's Wizard of Oz, and we're watching the wizard. The curtains are open, and the wizard's looking right at us, talking to us, and pointing at the man on the screen. And we're like, bro, but we see it all. And he's like, no, you don't see nothing. I'm like,
you know how like the sequel's always worse than the first? That was kind of Obama. But then the third movie is just really bad. That's kind of how I feel Obama's third. Yeah, like I feel like this is how Obama's third term is. Like, this is really bad. You think the sequel sucks? Wait till you see the third one.
Police Academy 3,
Home Alone 3. It's all
6,
terrible.
7.
So that's what I
think
feel
there was
like.
7 police academies.
David Gomez said Biden won fair and square. We all know that.
Yep. Just like you can't. No, I'm not going to say.
I don't want to. I wasn't planning on it either. Let me. Okay, hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to check out cbdlion.com. cbdlion.com. If you have any aches, pains,
mental pains from Joe Biden's term.
Right. If you suffer from anxiety or what's it, pressure? What's it called? Pressure?
Inflammation.
Yeah.
If you got inflammation, this is great for inflammation. Reduce inflammation, and your body heals itself.
Yeah.
It's side effects.
It's no side effects. You go to cbdline.com/Wayne Dupree for savings. Enter the code name Wayne. You get 20% off on your products. It works.
Yep. And our favorites are lotions, gummies, and patches. So there you go. If you need to know our favorites, go in and just do it.
And if you don't believe us, you can watch.
Ask our audience.
You can read some of the comments from many other people in the audience that they also agree this works. I used to take 4 Advil a day. 4 for the pain in my knees and my shoulder and my lower back and everything. With the CBD lotion, I rub it in the spot. I rub it in. I can go 3, 4. I think the longest I ever went with was 6 days. 6 days without putting more lotion in the same issue. And we even had them on the show, and they even said that it can even get to the point where it's healing.
Right. It takes down the inflammation so low that it actually it's not that it's repairing it. It's just taking the inflammation down so low that it doesn't come back.
Right.
Your body fixes itself when you remove the inflammation. Yeah.
Brandy said it'll help you get through the 3 years. Yeah, that's exactly what the gummies do. Okay, so get your gummies.
I don't know if y'all saw this last night on your social media.
That's the Iron Curtain.
To all the liberals out there, to all the talking heads, and all you sons of guns that hated and made fun of Ronald Reagan, called it the Star Wars Project, the pie in the sky. This is exactly what Ronald Reagan was talking about, and this is what Israel took from what Ronald Reagan was talking about and created their own from the idea the Iron Dome, and it works. It works very well.
Let me tell you something. The way that wait a minute, hold on. I want you to listen to how this starts off. I'm going to stop it and I'm going to play it in just a few seconds, but I want you to hear how she starts.
Today, Israel has carried out hundreds of airstrikes on Gaza, and Palestinian militants have fired multiple rockets across the border, chiefly towards Tel Aviv and Beersheba. Since Monday,
the media leads off that Israel is attacking.
Right.
Yes.
Gaza.
Yes.
Yeah. And the Palestinians. Yeah. Right. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
They're leading off like that because Israel is kicking their ass. Okay. But let's see. Do I have it? Let's see. There's a reason why. Where's it at? Where's it at, Wayne? Where's it at? Please. Okay. The reason why there was a professor that said the reason why this is happening is because Hamas and the Palestinian people, they're having a conflict about their elections. So the radicals started firing stuff over into Israel to stop the elections. Now Israel's fighting back, but don't get it twisted. I'm 100%. Now, if Israel was at fault, then I would call Israel out. That's who I am. I support Israel more than probably. Look, we support Israel because they are our ally. If they were wrong, I'm sure that we would say that they're wrong, but they have every right to protect their area, their people, and if they fire back at Palestine or at Hamas and some people die, well, maybe you should go after the people that started it. Why continue to blast Israel for defending themselves with, you just saw those rockets. It was close to 150. They tried to outgun the shield, basically. They tried to outgun that iron shield. Yeah. I don't have any problem with it.
Right. Well, this thing could end.
No, I don't either.
Right now. We could end this thing within seconds. We could end the war. We could end this issue. We could end it tomorrow if you wanted to. And here's the solution. Palestinians and Hamas, Islam, stop firing rockets at the Jews. That's all. Don't ever fire another rocket at the Jews. Leave the Jews alone. And I tell you what, you have instant peace.
The White House is quiet on this. There are multiple options that they could take when dealing with this. They've been quiet on the pipeline. Where is the White House? Where is the administration? That's what's so alarming to me. But yet, and I've been watching and waiting for statements on with Joe Biden on pipeline issues, Israel, things like that. But instead, the press secretary comes out 15 minutes ago and says this is what Joe Biden's reaction was to Liz Cheney. It's disturbing to see any leader, regardless of party, being attacked for simply speaking the truth. This is what Joe Biden said, that someone in the party shouldn't be attacked for speaking the truth, when that is what Trump was doing for 4 years. So he has time to come out and talk about Liz Cheney, but not enough time to do this with Israel.
Pipeline, Israel.
Right.
There was a mass shooting just the other day. There's a bunch of kids got killed at a school.
Colorado, there was a mass shooting. I mean, where's the White House?
There was another cop beating, but nobody saw that one because he was an old white guy. He broke his shins and stuff, but just a white guy laying over.
The White House is missing in action.
Here is a professor speaking about what's going on. I might have butchered it up, but here you go.
The Gaza Strip is seeing a recent spike in violence as fighting between Israel and Hamas militants has intensified. Fox 13 News is looking at what's behind the attacks. Amos Giora, a University of Utah law professor and former Israeli defense law advisor, spoke to us from his home in Jerusalem today, just miles from the violence. He explained that the fighting stems from a court battle over who owns the land in East Jerusalem. And Giora says the recent canceling of the Palestinian elections pushed Hamas over the edge.
It was the cancellation by the Palestinian Authority of the elections. I think the Palestinian Authority canceled the elections because I think they're genuinely concerned that Hamas would defeat them in the polls. And I think that Hamas is, again, flexing its muscles.
Professor Giora believes only three things will bring an end to the fighting. Arab nations need to call Hamas to order. The Palestinian Authority must pressure Hamas to step back, or the Biden administration must insert itself into the situation.
Some cultures are better than others. I'm just saying. There are some cultures out there that are better than others. And when you take to violence because somebody does something you don't like, that means you a bully. Just saying.
Would this be going on? Okay, go ahead. I'll ask it after this.
2 Hamas intel chiefs were killed during the attack. 3 military commanders had their homes destroyed. Oh, well. The U.S. media continues to cover the Palestinian side of the war, but Israel responded. Now, you hear what that professor said. It started on the Palestinian side.
Yeah,
but then they brought Israel into it, but Israel has to defend himself.
Absolutely.
You're sitting over there eating dinner, and all of a sudden you start seeing the air fill the sky, and you haven't done anything, but you're seeing stuff. You have 130 rockets. And I'm sure that maybe 1 or 2 got through and did some damage. But yeah, I will respond too. The mayor of Lod claims that there's a civil war that's happening on the Israeli side. The Orthodox Jews versus the Arab Israeli. Yeah. They're starting to fight each other. And Benjamin Netanyahu has visited there at the early hours of this morning, and he has declared a state of emergency for that area. Listen, like Brian said, y'all want Israel to stop whipping your ass, stop sending rockets over there. I mean, it's just that easy. Look, it's almost like you aren't prepared to go up against somebody who is bigger than you, but you keep on going. You keep on going. Keep on getting your butt whipped. And the way that, if you look at a lot of these social media posts by the left, they've taken, or they feel Palestine is the victim, Hamas is the victim, that side is the victim, and they're shouting down Israel for defending themselves. And I'm like, I just don't understand how y'all do that. Let somebody come outside your house and start throwing eggs at your house. What you gonna do?
Yeah, the kind of misconception of a concept is to think that Hamas and the Palestinians, that's the dudes to hang with. You go over there for 1 minute, you're female, you're going to get raped in a heartbeat. We've got journalists, I forget her name, but we've got journalists that were over there just doing her job in the middle of the street. They had a huge gang of guys, rape them all.
I remember
that. And just for the record, and I know that a lot of the audience can understand this, we were all labeled conspiracy theorists. We were all labeled negative when we said that if Biden gets in, there's going to be no peace in the Middle East. There's going to be inflation. The virus is not going to go away. There's going to be cyber attacks. We weren't psychic. We weren't conspiracy theorists. We just know what goes on. Mm-hmm. We saw the writing on the wall, and now here we are.
Yep.
Gas lines.
Today, Israel has carried out hundreds of airstrikes on Gaza, and Palestinian militants have fired multiple rockets across the border, chiefly towards Tel Aviv and Beersheba. Since Monday, at least 49 Palestinians and 6 Israelis have been killed. The UN Security Council is holding an emergency meeting later today. This as its envoy in the Middle East is now warning the region is heading towards, quote, a full-scale war. France 24's Jean-Emile Jamin has this report.
Plumes of black smoke billow over Gaza on Wednesday the result of a relentless Israeli bombardment against Hamas militants in the heaviest offensive between the two sides since the Gaza war in 2014. Israeli forces confirmed its warplanes had killed several Hamas leaders in the early hours of the morning, responding to a deluge of rockets sent over Tel Aviv, its surrounding region, and other southern towns. Among those killed in that attack were an Israeli Arab father and daughter struck by a stray rocket in the city of Lod, where a state of emergency was declared overnight. Another Israeli woman also died when an anti-tank missile hit a car close to the Gaza perimeter.
We've seen over the last almost 48 hours more than 900 rockets that have been fired into Israel, into populated areas.
But over in Gaza City, the devastation could also be felt by residents after an Israeli airstrike hit a car on Wednesday, killing 3 Palestinian civilians.
What should I say? This is a crime. They were civilians, a woman, her child, and a shop owner. These were people who were at the scene. The Israeli forces didn't hit a militant or any officials. We're just civilians sleeping in our homes.
Speaking on Tuesday night, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned Israel will continue to intensify its operations against Hamas, while Defense Minister Benny Gantz declared that this was just the beginning of the offensive.
Again, what do you want Israel to do? Just eat those rockets at their people?
Ilhan Omar came out and said that they should not be defending themselves. She literally said, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, girl.
There's a guy on Twitter, Tony Schaefer. He's blue check mark. He's responding to Jill Biden, who put up 100 days. We're just getting started.
And with her red heels on. Like
he goes off and says, war in the Middle East, no gas for Americans, no idea what to do about China, aggression, no blue-collar jobs for XL Pipeline, increased unemployment, imploding economy, promoting hate and violence in progressive cities, working to disarm law-abiding citizens. Pure evil. And the inflation that we've been talking about just spiked.
I know, that's what my last thought is.
4.2%, and it hasn't happened since 08. Sorry.
Yeah.
All I have to say is this. We're only 5 months in.
Can you imagine 2 years from now? Good Lord.
How about 3?
It's going to be Mad Max. It's going to be Mad Max, baby. Get ready. Pick out your costume now. We're going Mad Max style. We'll be broadcasting from a cave.
Right. Somebody put that up there, that one guy in the big chain, and we're not Mad Max yet.
And to just kind of piggyback off of Brian's point, yes, inflation is here, and normally people in rural areas will find out before bigger cities. I know that sounds strange, but it's actually the truth, because it takes a little bit more effort to get supplies into mountain cities like mine, or mountain valleys, if you will. We just went grocery shopping last night. Normal cart that I typically get. In fact, I got 10% less than I normally do. The bill was $367. It was 25% more. Inflation is here. And it will be hitting you guys here within the next 2 weeks and the rest of the country. So it's here. It's now costing me 25% more in groceries. $376, Brian.
Right. I don't normally do grocery shopping. The wife said yesterday, she said, the bill is high. I haven't heard her say that since she hasn't said that since we moved here from LA in 2012. That's the first time we moved back from LA in 2012.
Way to explain it.
I just want to warn you. I just want to warn you, when you see that $500 charge,
the bill is high. That's true. No,
but Daddy, I'm getting the essentials. It's for the food.
Yeah. It's bad. It's bad.
I went out last night because honestly, I work from home. I do a whole lot of stuff at home. I really don't go too many places now. That's just how it is. However, I did go out and gas the truck up, and I was already like one knob over a half a tank. Okay. So it's not that much away from a full tank. Cost me $30.
How much does it normally cost you?
It probably cost me about $16 or $17.
Yep. Yeah. So look, you're at 50%. Yeah.
So that's I was like,
what normally costs the little car to fill up when it's bone empty is $25. That's like every 3 days I'm put 25. I know it's $25.
I can't tell you about gas.
$33. From 25 to 33 in the small little car that I drive around town in. Yeah. I can't even imagine. I can't drive a truck. 32-gallon tank. At 12 miles to the gallon? We're going back to all of a sudden Obama all over again. I can't drive my truck anymore.
Well, we're going back to Jimmy Carter. Listen, Republicans will pick up seats in the House in 2022. But
did you say they will?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not because they're doing a great job. It's not.
Joe's doing so bad.
It's right. It's because Joe is doing so bad. They aren't saying we want y'all. MAGA's not going to just run out and say, "Oh, we got to have Republicans in here. We got to keep McCarthy." No, it's not that. It's that when
better than
gas goes up, right? We say this all the time. Americans don't react to things unless it hits the pocketbook. When it hits the gas, when it hits the food on the table, when it starts hitting those bills, then America reacts. Okay. And that's what's happening right now.
And the crazy pictures y'all been seeing, if you saw the one on TikTok where the lady was trying to fill up a shopping bag with fuel next to the fuel pump, that was nuts. And then we saw the picture of the one with like a half a dozen red cans and they're all fill them all up. Now they just sent me, the big square water plastic containers that have like the metal cage around them. There's a dude at a gas station filling that up. I don't know how legal that is. I would never do that. But his comment was, our Patreon says, having sat in gas lines in the 70s and been limited to on which day you could get fuel based on your license plate number. I don't blame these people.
That's what Carter did.
I remember that.
I don't blame him.
License plate number.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Last night, a friend of mine sent this to me.
Oh my!
You know what that is?
Here.
No!
I can't believe that we're here.
Gasoline I guess they didn't have no cans.
They're gonna die.
Yeah.
But you know what, Wayne? No more mean tweets, right? I know we keep saying that, but no more mean tweets.
Yeah.
Trump isn't out there on Twitter giving mean tweets anymore. So this is totally worth it, right?
Orange man bad, Leah.
I am so fed up.
Isn't that crazy though?
Isn't
it crazy? And so many people last night were saying, gasoline eats through plastic.
Right. The fume, that and the fumes alone could kill you before you even got home.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure they're wearing their mask, right? No. I mean, like that works because you can smell gas right through it. That's when I realized masks don't work. Yeah, when I actually started to be able to smell the gas, I'm like, this doesn't work. I was cleaning and I could smell bleach right through my mask. And that was the day I stopped wearing my mask. I was like, I'm not doing this, Fauci. I'm not doing this. Nope. Liar.
Last thoughts, people.
I can't do another 3 years of this. I'm sorry, I can't. I know I say that a lot. I know I'm saying that a lot today, but I swear to God on everything holy, I can't do 3 years of Joe. Somebody's got to figure out something. We have to do something.
Ploop, ploop.
Flush it. I don't know what.
I can't do this. This is bad, you guys.
No. Shh. No. You're going to get somebody in trouble. You're going to get somebody in trouble. No.
I ain't saying nothing. Ploop, ploop.
Yeah, right. All I'm saying, my last thought
on Thursday. Ploop, ploop.
My last thought. If we are not in the end of days, you're in the end of your days, folks.
We can go take 2 gummies. I got to take the whole. You know what? I'm just going to take the whole thing.
I beg y'all to go get right. I'm not saying go get religion. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying go get yourself right with the Lord. Find God and go get right.
And after you find God, find your CBD. Find your CBD broad spectrum 1,000 milligrams. After you find the Lord, find this and take this too. The Lord and CBD line. I like that combination.
Well,
why not? Spiritual and mental.
It's kind of weird, but yeah.
I can't do another 3 years, Brian. Come on, please, baby. Help me out here. Please. I can't do it.
Guido says hi.
Guido says hi. What?
Hold on, wait a minute.
Is that the Lord? Is the Lord saying?
Yeah. I saw this. A couple of years ago, and I always go back to it whenever I need something to laugh about. But yeah,
because we need it, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the way out, make sure you share the show, and we will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's our Friday.
Yeah.
Too.
Yes,
so make sure that you share the show. This is Don Rickles, and
God bless Don Rickles.
The chairman of the board, Frank Sinatra. They were having a little bit of fun. Y'all want to know what happened? What should happen?
Loaded! Guido says hi. He hasn't had a chance to talk to you. And from Jersey City, your good friend, Bubani Umbat. He started his car. He started his car with your album on, and now he's a highway. But I tell you, I'm a Jew and you're an Italian, and here we have what? This is a great Irishman. This is America. Yes. And that's why I just want to say, before we go any further, for 14 years, Johnny Carson kept saying, do you really know Frank? And I want you to know, Frank, I worship you and I love you. I really mean this, because since I'm a kid, I used to blow in girls' ears and hear you go, la-da-da-dee, and do it my way. I need a girl so bad. I love my wife, but she's ill. She just got married, Frank. I just can't picture him on the wedding night standing in the room going, and did it all, and I suppose. I've never met him, you know. And I get the chill. Excuse us, certainly. Marco Mangananzo was hurt. Marco Mangananzo. Bambino Bombazzo. 2 bullets in the head. 30.